the war much more. And when we speak about the current situation in Russian defense industry, I will not speak much about this, but you just can have a look behind you. Over here we have the exposition which was provided to us Rosoboron expert, and here you can see the latest models of the Russian military equipment which are required in the Indian market. And of course, which is very important, it's like the symbol of our cooperation. Over there, you can see the exposition of BrahMos. It's a joint Russian-Indian company for cruise missiles, and it's quite successful now. Now I would like to give the floor to Attaché for Air and Navy of the Russian Embassy in India, Sergei Harchenko.
Thank you, ma'am. Distinguished guests, dear colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me express my deep gratitude for the opportunity to address you today. Our nations are connected not just by decades of cooperation, but by centuries-old bonds of mutual respect, solidarity, and joint overcoming of historical challenges. The Second World War occupies a special place in this common memory. The year 2025 is the year of the 80th anniversary of victory of the Great Patriotic War and the year of the end of the Second World War. The USSR and India, each on their own front, made an invaluable contribution to the victory over Nazism. Millions of Russian and Indian soldiers have become a symbol of courage of those tough days. We remember our famous marshals, generals, and admirals who won glorious victories. But there is no victory without weaponry, tanks, artillery, aircraft, battleships, even small arms. Everybody heard about multiple launch rocket systems with woman's name Katyusha. That became a nightmare for foreign invaders. Therefore, I'm going to remind you about great constructors who created the weapon of victory. And of course, about the feat of labor of ordinary people, like everybody here, who built the weapon days and nights to hasten the victory. Today, you had the opportunity to look by what means the Red Army gained the victory over fascism. Nazi Germany made almost every European country to work for its unhuman plans. I would like to assure you that nowadays Russian defense industry can produce powerful and reliable weapons, not only to protect ourselves, but to make our friends stronger. At the exhibition, you can also see worldwide well-known arms like air defense systems S-400, Triumph, Panzer S-1, fighters Su and MiG, tanks T-90S, frigates, and of course BrahMos rocket systems, which are our common value. We have many other good examples of our military technical cooperation between our countries as well. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the exhibition.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harchenko. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Roman Babushkin, Consular Envoy of the Russian Federation to India.
Sophia, दोस्तों, सज्जनों, देवियों, सुखियों, रूसी गर्व है आपका हार्दिक स्वागत, क्योंकि जो एक्सिबिशन हम आयोजित किया ये पहली बार किया रूसी गर्व इसलिए सब आपको सब दोस्तों आने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you very much.
03 rifles, and many others. We share the best air defense systems within the S4 country. And what we do offer is the Su-57 fifth generation fighter jet to cooperate on. All that opens up even greater potential of co-development and co-production and even jointly enter third markets. But we don't stop even here, since our engagements go much beyond and find practical dimensions in the Indra 3 services exercises and joint military drills, Milan projects, as well as structured interagency dialogue. Yesterday, our leaders spoke to each other, and it just was another demonstration how close our leaderships are. So they have a perfect sense of mutual understanding and, as we call it, common mutual chemistry. Moreover, Russia is ready to share with India its experience gained through this special military operation, as well as successfully performed equipment. To achieve an advantage on the battlefield, one should be one step ahead technologically. So we focus on the development of laser, unmanned complexes, space and artificial intelligence capabilities. In fact, Russia has to resist the whole NATO potential, after it could not let the West to use Ukraine to collectively pressurize Russia and to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia. Many just realized time and again that Russia cannot be defeated, especially if it stands to protect its own people and Russian-speaking population, which was announced the target and subject to genocide by neo-Nazi Kiev regime that hijacked the power in Ukraine in 2014 with the direct support from the West. This year, when we mark the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War against Nazism in Europe, for which the Soviet Union made the largest contribution and paid the heaviest price by losing 27 million people, we also officially dedicated to the defense of motherland here. The memory of those heroes who were fighting the enemy, working 24/7 in factory and field to supply the army with weapons and food, who were brutally killed in concentration camps, and all those who were resisting in everyday life in starvation and hardship, is sacred for every Russian. That's why we say no one and nothing is forgotten. Being grateful to everyone at that war to make our country alive and give us the future which we enjoy today. To avoid such devastating conflicts in future, we call upon all nations to always remember the lessons from the Second World War and in good faith follow the UN Charter principles of sovereign equality of all nations, mutual respect, non-interference in domestic affairs, collective responsibility for peace and security, which shall be undivided, meaning that no one shall ensure its own security at the expense of others. We are sincerely grateful to India to share all these feelings and values with us, since we were fighting together in that war 80 years ago, shoulder to shoulder, and even 4 Indian officers were decorated with the Soviet military awards, orders and medals. So, this shared history is obviously an undeniable part of Russia-India strategic partnership. And having said that, I'd like to emphasize the huge importance of this date and the topic of today's event in the Russian House in New Delhi. I thank the organizers, all the participants and guests for valuable contribution to make our meeting today very remarkable and forward-looking. Thank you very much.
Mr. Babushkin, thank you so much. This year we celebrate not only 18th anniversary of the Great Victory. This year we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the technical military cooperation between India and Russia. First aircraft from Soviet Union were delivered to India in 1955. Also this year we celebrate 50 years of our cooperation in space. In 1975, the first satellite Indian satellite Aryabhata were launched to the space with the help of the Soviet Union. Last year we celebrated 40 years of the first flight of Rakesh Sharma, the first Indian cosmonaut, and here we can see the exhibition of TASS agency prepared especially for that event. And why it's important to speak about all this collaboration today? In our changing world, technological sovereignty, which underlies any sovereign state, is becoming an important topic. A state that can develop new technologies and which can protect itself through these technologies. Therefore, when we talk about the sphere of military cooperation, technical cooperation, cooperation in the field of space exploration, we mean primarily the joint development or transfer of technologies that can help any state to be sovereign and protected, help to pursue an independent foreign policy. Cooperation between India and Russia is in both and all areas. It's a very good example for this. Since the days of the USSR, our country has provided technological support to India in many areas. This is agro industry, heavy industry, medicine, defense, and many others. Now we have developed our joint technologies, and as I said before, BrahMos Aerospace company is a very, very good example of this. And also important factor we do not have to forget about this is the preparation and training of the specialists in all these spheres. More than 30,000 Indian students are getting their diplomas in Russia, and we hope that next years it will be increased. So all these spheres we would like to touch today on this round table. Now I would like to give the floor to Colonel Sergei Harchenko, please.
Thank you, Madam. Once again, good afternoon, namaskar. I would like to say just a few words about Russian-Indian military cooperation. Of course, this theme deserves much more time, but organizers put every speaker in a very strict time limit. So, the legal framework of Russian-Indian relations in this sphere is based on agreement between the government of the Russian Federation and the government of the Republic of India on military cooperation from early 1993, as well as more than 20 other intergovernmental agreements, including documents on military technical cooperation, which I will not mention in my address. Nowadays, our military cooperation almost fully recovered after pandemic of COVID-2019 and first tough years of special military cooperation. Minister of State for Defense Raksha Mantri Shri Sanjay Seth is going to Moscow for grand events on behalf of the 80th anniversary of victory in the Great Patriotic War. Raksha Mantri could not come personally but asked to wish all the best to Russian counterparts. Military personnel is studying in academies and schools of both countries. In Russia, Indian officers can learn the newest experience of special military operation, which is the real sample of future wars, with huge number of various types of drones. They receive the same information and as their Russian colleagues. Talking about military exercises, I can say that we are doing our best to strengthen our interoperability, solidarity, and mutual respect. We are real brothers in arms, and we can rely on each other. I personally participated in several exercises and air shows, and I am frank to say that I like the way that Indian pilots fly on Russian-made aircrafts like MiG and Sukhoi fighters. They are very, very good professionals. There were Indra-Navy naval exercise held in February this year. This year we are looking for Avia Indra later this year in Russia and Indra Army Edition in India. We are glad that our Indian partners are to take chair in Indian Ocean Naval Symposium this November. Indian side, as a future chairman of IONC and S, have already invited Russian battleship to take part in next edition of Milan Naval Exercises, International Fleet Review in Vizag Naval Base in February 2026, as well as our Chief of Naval Staff for Chief of Naval Staff Conclave. Of course, the main annual event is session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission of Military and Military Technical Cooperation. The 21st session was co-chaired by Raksha Mantri Shri Rajnath Singh and Russian Defense Minister Mr. Andrei Belousov in Moscow on December 10th, 2024. That time, Raksha Mantri emphasized that the Indian-Russian relationship is very strong and has lived up to the responsibilities of a special and privileged strategic partnership. The next section of Russian-India Intergovernmental Commission of Military and Military Technical Cooperation on the chair of Honorable Defense Ministry will take place in New Delhi in the end of this year. Today you have an opportunity to see our exhibition of the weapon of victory from the period of the World War II and nowadays. We invite you to come to Moscow and visit International Military Technical Forum named Armia 2025 this autumn, where you can learn everything about modern arms and future warfare. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Colonel. Now I would like to give the floor to Evgeny Vasilyev. He is Deputy Representative of Federal Service for Military Technical Cooperation.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, all of Namaskar. Let me describe our military technical cooperation Russia with India. Military technical cooperation between our countries are developing steadily. Countries are working together on products, research and development, and also export of defense products. This interaction is the basis of our multifaceted relationship. We admire the many states of prior success of this area and look forward to future opportunities to contribute of the development of India's defense capabilities. The distinctive future of India-Russian military technical cooperation include mutual readiness to take into account each other's interests, as well as a high degree of adaptability to changing conditions. It's a truly time-tested partnership. At the moment, Russia is the only country that is ready to share advanced technologies with New Delhi. System of Soviet or Russian original constitute over 50% of India's weaponry, rising to 90% of central sectors like armored vehicle and fighter aircraft. We have a very solid presence in this market and are prepared to compete with our countries. Let me give you several examples for how strong bilateral defense ties are. Russian original T-72 and T-90 main battle tanks and BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicles are the backbone of India's armored and mechanized formation. In the Air Force, Su-30 is the mainstay of the fighter fleet. In the Indian Navy, one of the two aircraft carriers, Vikramaditya, was serviced from Russia. As were Kilo-class submarines, most numerous among submarines inducted by the Navy. There are other high-profile projects such as the S-400 air defense system and Tarvar-class guided missile frigates. The exceptional quality of the products, including aircraft, unmanned air vehicles, and more, has been demonstrated during real-world combat operations. At the same time, prices is significantly lower than French, German, and American weapons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vasilyev. And to add more words about this cooperation, I invite to our stage today, to the stage, Mr. Alexander Sinchilin. He's deputy representative of Rosabaron Expert. You have seen all these models. It was provided by Rosabaron Expert, so it's very important to hear to Alexander today. Is the floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, let me express my respect and gratitude to Elena for the opportunity to meet with the company colleagues here during this event today, as well as having the occasion to display some military models and relevant video presentations for Supernext to this center. First, I would like to mention that the joint stock company Supernext is the Russia's sole state-owned intermediary agency for export and import of the entire range of final military products, dual-use products, technologies, and services. The company actively contributes to implementing the Russian state policy in the field of military technical cooperation with foreign countries. Present, reportedly, the Indian side remains interested in the development of technical cooperation with Russia and speaks out for its comprehensive expansion, primarily through the joint research and development programs. As part of the fulfilling obligations on the current agreements and contracts, a big work has been done with our Indian partners from defense public sector undertakings and private defense contractors, mainly on the following aspects. Briefly, for example, in the air systems, there's an ongoing license production of the SU family crafts, supply of the required technological kits. We do the organization of the overhaul of different air platforms, including the Sukhoi, MiG, Ilyushin, Kamov, and modernization of MiG and Su aircraft and the engines. We work with our colleagues on the integration of modern Russian air-launched weapons on aircrafts made in India and as well as Su-30, and organizational production of air-launched weapons at Indian enterprises. In land systems, we continue to deliver different air defense systems, provide Indian companies with wide nomenclature of components for the main battle tanks and technological kits for tank ammunition production. In Navy, we provide technical assistance in construction of frigates and destroyers, we work with local shipyards, create facilities for repairing naval weapons, many other activities. We closely monitor the development of national programs in air, maritime, and land domains, and it is pleased to note that increasing number of locally developed military weapons and equipment presented at domestic and international exhibitions every year. We in turn are open to discuss further such issues as joint development of advanced combat systems on various platforms, directly supply of weapons, and military equipment with the latest combat system and weapons, as well as organizing their production and especially I'd like to emphasize that we do not bind any TOT and agreements for joint development or production of military equipment, not military technical assistance with any political conditions. I'd like also to mention that we have our representation here in China in Delhi, and our doors are open. Remain open, please come to visit us at any convenient time, and we welcome you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. You are very right saying that our cooperation is primarily through joint development project. So now I would like to give the floor to Alexander Maxichev, Joint Managing Director of Gramus Aerospace.
Good afternoon. You know that celebrating 25 years, our company. And from 1999, when we established this company, the number of specialists was 10. Now is more than 700, and I'm pretty sure that sometimes the number of the specialists will reach 1,000. 1,000 good specialists who have a lot of knowledge, not only in production area, but in development area. You know, so we have a few industrial centers, and very soon it will be opened one more center in Lucknow. And during this period, 25 years, we not only developed missile, we arranged serial production, and we supplied a lot of missile for Indian Army, Navy, Air Force. Now BrahMos already started supply missile for export for third country. And our joint work develop absolutely unique missile with unique characteristic. I feel that you cannot find no more missile with same characteristic. And our product is not frozen. We continue upgrade this missile. And I'm absolutely sure that our missile complex, it will be very reliable shield for all Indian citizens. It will be very good help for Indian defense. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Vice Admiral Krasnov, I know that you working with Russia for a long time. Vice Admiral is the co-president of CEO Council. Please share your thoughts, share your experience on this.
Thank you, Rina. Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to wish our friends a very, very happy occasion of Victory Day, 80th Victory Day celebrations. It's a landmark celebration we all remember every year. Personally for me, I retired from the Navy after 40 years of service, and before joining the Crown Group, during the service we had numerous occasions to visit Soviet Union and Russia, and Elena already mentioned about various projects that the country has had, and our friend mentioned about the naval projects of submarines, aircraft carrier. It's all well known, and they are the best platforms today in the world, let me tell you. And the Navy is very happy about it. Operating them, we have been part of it. After retirement, I joined this group of companies as Group President, Crown Group. I must mention about Crown Group. The group itself has been working with our Russian friends for the last 40 years plus. We have got three verticals: marine, aviation, and land forces. On marine, we have got our all the MOUs signed with JSC, USC, and NEEP. On aerospace, we have got joint venture with NASC, and on the Army front, for all the tanks, we have got a cooperation with UVZ, Coral Cabin Zavod, and the group has been working very well. We are spread across the country on marine, aviation, as well as land forces. And almost every 6 months one gets the opportunity to visit Russia, meet our business partners. But let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, the kind of reciprocation and the hospitality and the cooperation we get is mind-boggling. For wherever required, whenever required, they always, our Russian friends are ready to help, come to our assistance, and jointly we work together. And the results are there in the country to see. A long-lasting friendship and very, very strong bonding. So not taking much of time, I must once again wish you all a very happy Victory Day, and look forward to continued friendship, cooperation, Indo-Bharat futures. Thank you, Jai Hind once again.
You mentioned the best aircraft in the world. I think some of you visited Bangalore, Air India, and maybe you have seen by yourself SU-57. We have through us one of the specialists. It's Dr. Rajesh Kumar. He is the senior fellow of the Center for Air Power Studies. And now I would like to give the floor to you, please.
Thank you so much. Jai Hind and my felicitations and best wishes to all of you on the Victory Day. And in fact, India and Russia have been standing as very long time friends. And I remember 1947 when India got independence, we were trying to take our baby steps towards industrializing our country, towards creating an infrastructure for the overall development of the country. And we had practically nobody. It was at that time that Russia came forward and held our hands. Since then, we have been collaborating very closely on various fronts, whether it's on defense acquisitions or defense upgrades or the defense collaboration, joint exercises, or you say soft power, that was very important between Russia and India. We have been doing really well about the whole thing right since the beginning. And I also remember the time in 1971 war when America had sent its 7th fleet in favor of Pakistan. It was Russia only which stood by us by sending its navy. And recently we have been having defense acquisitions, very importantly, like your T-90 tanks for the army and Su-30 aircraft, Su-30 MKI aircraft, which we have been operating for a long time now. And MiG-29 upgrade is also a current thing which is going on. Su-57, of course, some deliberations are there, I have heard. But then yes, a decision will be taken in the right spirit at the right places. Recently, we also had in the Center for Air Power Studies, the institution to which I belong, we had an MOU with Russian International Affairs Council, RIAC, and Arena was there. And we have been collaborating and we...
Refueling, repairs and resupply, further enhancing the operational capabilities and the readiness of both countries. BrahMos next generation the cruise missile is also underway, which is to be planned to be launched by the submarine and aircraft, and the hypersonic version is also under discussion. So overall in the last 20 years, India has acquired more than $50 billion in arms and equipment from Russia, and it has 60% in share in India's arms import. In the policy framework, India has always pursued a policy of strategic autonomy, and Russia continues to occupy a space of high importance in that framework. The partnership is resilient and time-tested, which goes beyond transactional ties. I would say even if India diversifies its partnership, it does not substitute trust with friends. Russia remains and will likely remain a strategic constant in India's rise. Finally, before leaving the floor, I would say the Russia-India relationship is not just about contracts and cooperation. It's about legacy, values, mutual confidence, and a strong vision for the future, and most importantly, the trust and reliability. Thank you so much.
I know Russia is going to be in 3-4 days of complete celebration. Moscow is going to be very busy. I'm sure you are also very busy here and will be part of your celebrations ahead. When it comes to India and Russia, I think 6 is a very interesting number, because 6 times in the last 2-3 years, India has abstained from voting against Russia in the United Nations Security Council. And when I put these two numbers together, between 1957 and 1972, Russia used its veto 6 times to save India from a lot of trouble. So I'm looking for now the 7th time when we can, reciprocate each other as well. So what can be better than this to prove that it is a very special and a very privileged strategic partnership that we have between our 2 countries. So I represent the United Services Institution of India. I'm the director of the Center for Emerging Technologies River Bharat at the US side. We have
point out on the area of our education cooperation, military education cooperation, sorry.
Нам всем с вами хорошо известна фраза «кадры решают все».
We all know the popular phrase that the personnel is the most important.
Россия, как правопреемник великой державы Союза Советских Социалистических Республик, установила тесное сотрудничество с Индией еще в середине 50-х годов.
So, as we all know, the Russian Federation as the right holder of the Soviet Union got a very tight relations with the Republic of India in the middle of the 1950s.
С поставками первых образцов вооружения и военной техники, а если быть точнее, то первых самолетов в Республику Индии.
With the first supply to the Republic of India of first of the airplanes.
И с каждым годом военное сотрудничество росло и расширялось.
And each year after, the military cooperation getting wider and strong.
Особую актуальность наше военное сотрудничество приобрело в 60-х годах, когда произошло первое обострение обстановки на приграничных районах на севере Индии.
And definitely the most important attention got in the 1960s, where there was the struggle under the first struggle occurred on the north of Republic of India.
С тех пор наши тесные партнерские стратегические отношения в сфере военного образования только росли. И за этот период с середины 50-х годов по настоящее время в Российской Федерации, в высших учебных заведениях Министерства обороны подготовлены тысячи индийских военных специалистов.
And since that time, our military cooperation only got strong and intensive. And since that time, more than 1,000 Indian servicemen been prepared in the military institutions in the universities of the Soviet Union and the Russian Federation.
С учетом все более сложных технологий совместного производства, нам требуются высококвалифицированные военные специалисты.
Taking into consideration of the advanced technology, so we all require the very high qualification specialists.
От того, как качественно и в каком количестве мы их подготовим, так и будут решаться задачи для достижения поставленных целей.
So the better these specialists be prepared, so the better goals will be approached in order to achieve all the goals.
На современном этапе мы все с вами стали свидетелями очень быстро меняющегося характера вооруженной борьбы во всех средах: космос, воздух, море, суша.
In the actual time, we all see how fast the area of the warfare is changing: airspace, land, and air.
Нам весьма приятно, что с каждым годом количество индийских офицеров, желающих пройти обучение, увеличивается. И вот буквально вчера мы получили очередную заявку на обучение в наших российских вузах очередной партии индийских офицеров на следующий учебный год.
We are very happy and glad that the quantity of the Indian servicemen who are preparing in the Russian Federation military institutions and university increased. And as an example, yesterday we got a meeting with our
Great.